I mean, let's be honest, we weren't exactly going to be sitting here cheering, were we? Well, welcome back, folks, to Matchday report. Preston North End versus Burnley. The outcome was clear from the moment the game began, from the moment the game were in its build-up, really, I suppose. With Ched getting a ban and everything like that, it weren't looking too great, but unfortunately it's all come full circle and we played awful. If we had, I was expecting to lose the game, but losing the game and losing the game in the manner that we lost the game, it's two different animals, to be honest with you, and I'm not happy and not many people are happy either, but let's go over it, shall we? So the first half saw us have a poor performance as Burnley managed to head one home, completely taking the piss out of us for the rest of the half as well. Their keepers, in terms of position, where he was found the most on the pitch was outside of his own, outside of both boxes, which was crazy. It's hella disrespectful. But yeah, it was a free header. We left our man completely wide open. It's not even like it's a tall lad either. Nathan Teller is quite small, so to leave him wide open like that to get a free header, it's not good enough. In the second half sees Nathan Teller secure his hat-trick early on after some very poor play, and the rest was absolute misery from us. So yeah, if you can see by the stats, we had 5 shots, 2 being on target, so we're back to that awful ratio. And they had 13 to 6, which for their standards isn't fantastic, but at the same time they didn't exactly need to do any more than that, did they? Because let's be honest, we were an easy side to beat that day, so they didn't actually have to do much more. But you can see in terms of possessive stats, in terms of they had 70% of the amount of passes they made, it's unacceptable. This is poor. 63% passing accuracy for a championship club. That's horrible. Absolutely horrid. National League teams is what you see 63% at. Even you probably see more in National League actually. So 63% passing accuracy, that's far from good enough. Absolutely, that's horrendous. And if we look at the table, of course, Burnley, that's 10 straight home wins in a row, something like that. However many wins in a row it is for Burnley now, it's a shocking number. And they remain so many points clear of everyone else, and we are now down to 12th from 11th. So it could be worse, but at the same time, this isn't looking good, and we're not liking it. And of course, there's an absolute row on Twitter as well, as you'd expect. But we'll look at the player ratings now, as we always do. Woodman, a 5, which is, sure, I guess. He will be frustrated to see Teller left unmarked for the first goal. Kept it to 1-0 in the first half with a couple of saves to keep out Barnes. Beaten by Power for the second, and Teller's third crept under him, which was a shame, but I think Woodman could have done better for the third, but at the same time, it's not that it mattered. I think the game were over at that point. Story a 5, Lindsay a 4, Hughes a 6. So I think I'm just going over positions wise. Story, no glaring errors in the first half, but the pace tore him apart. Lindsay a 4, started the game fine, getting tight to Burnley's forwards, aggressive in the tackle. Saw by Teller for the second goal, didn't cover himself in the glory for the third either, as it was a header from him that laid off Teller completely. Hughes a 6, won his tackles early, tried to lick things up down the left, ended up being a tough afternoon. He tried his best, but he was beaten far too easily by the pace of Teller. Absolutely, Hughes in that position was it weren't working out for him with the opposition he was against. Brown a 6, or a scuff shot saved by soon after Burns' opener. Tough task up against however you say that. Now I'm going to try that. Who caused the Peony skipper problems? Headed a cannon cross wide in the second half, which is unfortunate. Ledson has 6, got stuck in and all that. What you'd expect from Ledson. Saw very little of the ball in the first half, midway at the break. McCann 6, tried to set the tone in the middle of the park with his pressing and tackling, didn't shut the tackle and tried to bring back Spini's performance, booked midway through the first half, and he was definitely trying to get the team going. He was shouting a lot, so it's nice to see someone trying to get some leadership, into the game. Brady 5, I would disagree with that. I'd maybe give him a 4. Brought intensity early doors on Derby Day, but Teller then grew into the game and asked him massive questions with his pace. Peony's number 11 didn't have an answer to it, and it's not even just that, it's just when he saw the ball he didn't really make the best use of it. His defending, it was very poor, but of course you look at who he comes against, you could maybe excuse him, but all game Brady just really didn't do too much, and the second corner of the game that he took was just abysmal. I don't know why we didn't let Brown take it, but I don't want to see Brady on corners or set pieces. He's just he's in some poor form at the minute, so I really think we should be rewarding those with good performances to get in the squad rather than just put Brady back in it because he was quality, because at the minute he's not quality. Woodburn 5, buzzed around in behind the front 2 to no avail, didn't really have a kick in the first half, was replaced at half time, as I expected to happen because Woodburn doesn't really do much. Delap 5, tried to power his way through Burnley defenders a few times in the first half, but the Clarets defended well against him, struggled to link play up. And then Cannon a 6, pressed the pace and purpose, but Burnley managed to play their way out all game, had a couple of runs down the left, created 2 chances for Brown with crosses, which was good. At least someone was trying to put a ball in. I thought Delap showed power when he was trying to keep hold of the ball, which he did in a few occasions, but it couldn't last. And then Cannon, of course, was the only one with the pace to match everybody else, but it was still it was just not enough still. And then our subs, Whiteman a 5, introduced at the break and put in a crunching tackle on Cullen straight away, got away with a howler of a pass straight to Zorawi, I think that's how you say it, on the edge of Peony's box. Parrott at 5, played in the pocket behind Delap and Cannon, but couldn't get into the game. It's nice to see Parrott being played in that false 9 position, or a cam position, whatever you want to call it. I think he does deserve more minutes there, but at the same time, this game just wasn't the one for it. Fernandez a 6, introduced for the final 20, had a couple of runs down the left, he should have been starting. And then Josh got 20 minutes under his belt, replacing Cannon on 68. The wrong decision, I think he should have replaced Delap, but the midfielder barely saw the ball, and that's just that in a nutshell. We'll go over Ryan Law's transcript, and after that I want to have a look at an interview from Alan Brown. On the result and the Peony's display, we lost, so not good, obviously. I thought Burnley were fantastic in what they did. We were solid and resolute at times because we had to be, but gave the ball away numerous times, and to concede the goals we did, it is hard to take. Burnley have opened teams up this season and scored some quality goals, but on our part we could have done better. You don't like losing games of football, especially derbies. Unfortunately, Burnley were the better team, and I have to say they got 3 points well deserved. We need to do better individually and collectively, so it's frustrating that you're back to not winning a game of football and performing to the levels we know we can. The goals ultimately came down to individual errors and people not doing their jobs properly. I'd probably disagree with that, to be honest. I think the Bristol game was more of that. This game, fair enough, the individual error came from Lindsay for the third, and the second, I wouldn't exactly say it's an individual error. I'd say that was a moment of actual quality. And the first one, again, it's probably Ledson and whoever was with him. I can't remember who it was, but they left the man completely, so that's fair. But for a majority of the game, I think people did try to do their jobs. They just got outclassed completely. They had no support. Nobody had any support. That becomes a bit of a problem, so that's where the problem is, and we need to change that quickly. You know, you are going to be limited with chances against good teams. We needed that bit of quality or something to fall to us. There was probably not enough crosses into the box for them to deal with, but we never really got out of our half. The goals were definitely avoidable. 2 kicks up the pitch, it is disappointing, but they were obviously quality things to do, and it's not something we were expecting. The keeper's that far out of his box, he can get away with doing that, which we need to put a stop to. If you ask me, when he says we just needed that quality or something to fall to us, it's not that we needed something to fall to us, we just needed the quality. We had no clear game plan. There were no clear tactical game plan, and we clearly did not prepare well enough for Burnley. They was probably relying on Ched, and obviously Ched got his match ban on the Friday, but they was informed on Thursday, I believe I read. So they had 2 days to prepare for the match without Ched in the game plan, and I do believe Ched was the do-all and end-all of this game, so that's probably where it's gone wrong. But at the same time, I can't just say it was Ched's fault, because we didn't expect him to get a match ban, did we? On goals conceded in general play, we defended resolutely at times. No, we didn't, but we didn't go forward enough with the ball when there were opportunities. I thought we could have turned them a bit more and played in their half. We knew they'd be playing risky football with the keeper, and it was about when to jump and not to. We had plenty of chances too, but okay. But I think the goals, you only have to look at the goals. It was a second phase from a corner. We get done, chopped inside, and the kid puts a cross in for Taylor to put in. We lose our man. Then it was 2 kicks up the pitch with Burnley are not associated with. The third one we could have dealt with a bit better, and the second one was a 2v1 in our favour. We come out of it without the ball, and he puts it at the near post. The goals we conceded were very disappointing, given that we had defended decent. I wouldn't say decently, I'd say acceptably, to be honest with you. It weren't brilliant. Half-time view, I made the change quickly, nothing against Ryan or Ben. Ben took a knock to his knee and was limping a bit. I didn't see that, so I don't know about that. I just felt if I could get Whitey on there with Ali and got Troy on, it'd give us a bit more impetus. What the hell does that mean? This is me showing my lack of education. The force or energy with which a body moves. Okay, I think I've come across this word before in a video and I've addressed it. It looks familiar. Lo and behold, they scored 10 minutes later, so it's 2, and before you know it, it's 3. Disappointing, but we changed it at half time to have a right good goal of getting a goal back, because we felt we could have done. And fair enough, the pressing was good at times, but it just didn't last long enough. We got in at half time and the lads felt good. What? We asked them to be a bit more patient in and around with the ball and had to defend clean. There were times when we could have turned them a bit more in behind and been more compact. There would have been opportunities for us, and if we were going to go, we go together. I thought we started okay, and at 1-0, we made the changes to freshen it up with 2 goals. There is one where the lad just volleys it up to the pitch and it's a header back down into the mix. Scores from it, and the other one is a lump up the pitch. which is what we try and do, but not to the same extent. The reason why it worked for Burnley is because they have the distance to already make the lump, and everyone else is incredibly deep towards our box, so also our half. So when we're up there excuse me, I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say here. The reason why lumping the ball forward doesn't work for us is because we don't have the quality or the height to deal with it. So I know whenever we lump it forward, that's what teams expect us to do. So they're already guarding their half and their box with loads of players to receive it. When Burnley did it, we were all around Burnley's players, and there was only one run that needed to be made to get forward, and they had that run. And what do you know? It worked because we weren't prepared for it. It's as simple as that. If you can get that ball forward quick enough and accurately enough to do that with quality up front, then yes, do it. But we don't do that. On what opinion go now? It doesn't define our season. It just defines the moment of derbies and letting the fans down, which you've done most of the season really. Said hello. The next 4 or 5 games getting into March will define where we finish at the end of the season. Oh, okay, that's interesting. At this moment in time, we're going through a bit of a sticky patch at home and now in a derby. The quicker we get out of it, the better. I think one match, obviously derby games, you want the bragging rights, but I don't think this one matters as much as, say, Blackburn or Blackpool, because we're not going to see Burnley next season, and we're probably not going to see Wigan next season. We probably won't see Blackpool next season either, to be honest, but at the same time, it's Blackpool, so you do want to win that one. On the defence and considering changes, I just said to the lads, they are all here. 22 players came with us. Bambo, Daniel Johnson, Patrick Bauer missed out, and I said that everyone has opportunities. There are going to be more opportunities given out over the next few games because we're going to need that now. When you get those, make sure you take them because it's a long season. Yeah, a couple have fallen by the wayside, and we've got to make sure whoever steps in next takes their chance. I thought DJ should have started today, in all honesty. And of course, we don't have any young players because they're all out on loan. On the message to the fans, it hurts me just as much. It is emotional. I hate it at the moment that we are not giving them what they want. There were a few jeers and boos, and I hate it. I hate the fact that we walk off the pitch and that happens. But I get the frustration. But just stick with the group and the players because we've seen what we can do in good moments. I know times like this are hard, but I'm hoping to bring better times back. And at the moment, we are going through a bit of a sticky patch at home, which we know we have to sort out. Hopefully we can train Monday, Tuesday, and turn it around Wednesday. We all get the frustration, but just stick with the group because it's a long season and they've been amazing again today. Now, in terms of the training, I was going to address this. There's an open training day on Monday that the fans can go and attend, which I will not be attending, unfortunately. I really wanted to, but it's Valentine's Day on Tuesday, and the missus has other ideas. So that's not going to happen, unfortunately. So stay single, kids. I'm joking. I'm kidding. She's going to watch this. I'm joking. But no, I'm genuinely curious to see how we train on Monday. I know people that are going, so I'm going to ask them to send me footage so I can address it. But obviously the Luton's on Wednesday, and I'm not going to make the video till Thursday, but I'll address the training on Thursday if I do get the chance to see anything. But in general, I want to see how we prepare for Luton, because it doesn't feel like we prepared for Burnley. It just feels like we had a regular training session, and that's about it. It looked like we weren't prepared, so I want to see how we prepare for Luton, a genuinely quality team that is going to come to deep down knowing that we're in tatters at the minute and abuse us. So I really need to see us do something intelligent. We need to study this team and find a way to get around them instead of just propping up defensively at home like we always do and get our asses kicked. It's not acceptable. Now, this is interesting for me because this says Alan Brown delivers brutally honest P&E assessment after Burnley loss. And the reason why it's interesting is not only because it's honest, like the interview says, but because when you go on Twitter and look at Alan Brown's Twitter, he addresses the interview, and not in a particularly brilliant way, to be honest with you. Alan Brown. Let's have a look at it, shall we? Alan Brown. Here. It addresses this interview, right? And it says, in the future, I'll say the usual robot stuff. So he's clearly been told by Ridsdale, Craig, Ryan, he's been told by somebody not to be so open. And this says, this was an honest acknowledgement that they were clear of us in every department as they are the whole division. It was not a dig. Yesterday was disheartening, but we'll stick together, so please get behind us like you always do. He has very, very clearly been told by somebody higher up in the club that what he said was not acceptable, and he can't be saying that. And that's horrendous. You need to have that honesty. Why do you think Ryan Law says the same stuff every interview? Because he knows he can't be honest. If he's honest, he's going to get shut down for it. And that's a problem. If we can't have the honesty to open up in the club and address what the problems are, we're never going to fix the problems, are we? So it needs addressing. And I'm happy Alan Brown tried to address this, but yeah. As a captain, he's a captain. I would read some of these comments here, but at the same time, I don't agree with a lot of what many people say in this community. I know this lad has some good takes, but a majority of the people recently have not agreed with me because of a controversial tweet that I put out a few days ago regarding the home fans, because a lot of people misinterpreted it and thought I was talking about them, but in reality I'm only talking about a small minority of people. But hopefully we can move on from that. But yeah, no, the fan base is in tatters at the minute. You know, 1 week it's low out, the next week it's low out, and then 2 weeks later we're going up. So yeah, I don't really want to address fan opinions because they're just not the best at the minute, to be honest. Not everyone's in an emotional state and we don't know where we're going with the season. So anyway, Alan Brown's interview. It's horrible, says Brown. As a player, you never want to come off the pitch feeling like that. We were dominated from minute 1 to minute 90, and all over the pitch they were better than us. They were set up better tactically, and there was a reason they are top of the league. The quality they have in their team is top class, and they showed it today. It was unfortunate to concede from a set piece because that is one area where I'd expect to be better. It's not even our big lad who gets the run at the front post from there. It was a long way back and we never really looked like getting back into the game. There were streets ahead of us in every aspect, and they are the standout team. The football they play, when you are playing against it, you just think it's a difficult afternoon. Watching it must have looked like they walked all over us, because that's what it felt like as a player. I know we got battered against Norwich recently, but it's a different kind of game, and today we just didn't get anywhere near them. They know how to dominate possession, and then their second and third goals are just not just long balls. They play short passes and they make it 3v3 at the top end, which is difficult for defenders to deal with. They probably could have done a bit better, but it wasn't a fluke. It was just a ball from defence to attack. You could tell they worked on it to draw us in and then make it 3v3, which is what we don't do. Like this is what I said earlier. This is what we struggle to do in terms of lumping the ball up. That's why it never works for us. Anyways, North End were left 12th in the table come 5 o'clock Saturday, and while Brown is equally as disappointed as the supporters with recent results and displays, he doesn't feel Pioneer losing their way under Ryan Law. I think that would be unfair to say after a game like that. Maybe judging on recent games where we haven't quite been at it, we have always been in a game or given a good account of ourselves, but today's game is a bit different and we cannot get too disheartened by it. Obviously it's sickening to go off the pitch after that, but you've got to respect the quality in their team and how well they set up. You have just got to hold your hands up sometimes, and I know it's sickening, I know it's a derby game and you want to get right after them. Fans probably expect more, but trust me, it was tough out there on the pitch. I could hear them getting onto me with Zawari, or whatever you say his name as, but I would have gotten near him if I could have done. He's a quality player and it's difficult out there. It's easier said than done watching it. The Pioneer skipper does feel the team are having to adapt in terms of style and identity. With the attacking, entertaining football spoken about by Ryan Law having eluded the Lily Whites. Yeah, I think so, says Brown. Because of our home form, we've kind of lost our way a bit. When you keep picking up poor results, it does knock people's confidence, and it's always split decisions that can cost you. At the start of the season, we were a lot more comfortable on the ball, we had a way of playing. Now it seems like any bit of pressure and it's a boom ball. We have got to get back to how we were at the start of the season before it's too late. There are different ways to win games. At Birmingham the other week, I didn't think we were very good, but we showed what we can do. It was a horrible win, but sometimes you need those. As I say, it's not going to define our season, and we've got to put this to the back of our minds. We'll train well this week, get some results over the next week or two. We need to get over this result now, which is a difficult one to take, especially for the fans, who I thought were right up for it on the day. We were as well, but we were beaten by the better team, and that's the bottom line of it. And this is something I want to address when he says we have to get back to how we were at the start of the season. And this was a point I made on my Twitter as well. When people are saying that the football's horrendous and it's this and it's that, I agree, the football is horrendous, and it wasn't exactly brilliant at the start of the season either because we weren't scoring. However, at least we was collecting points. I know it's a drag and I know it's not entertaining to watch, but would you much rather collect points than lose the points in exchange for football that's a bit dire? Of course you would, because we're still moving up the table and we're still surviving. I get that if we go up, we're going to go back down straight away. That's a given at this point. You look at the team and you're like, these lads aren't up for the Premier League, no chance. But at the same time, at least if we're collecting points, we're surviving, and that's what we need to do. We need to survive in this league. We're not going to win the league. We need to survive it, and that's why collecting points from draws or just, scrapey wins, whether with poor football, are important, because as long as you can survive, you can reassess and then come back stronger the season after and the season after that. You just got to find your strengths, and it's all about experimenting. And at the minute, the word that we're experimenting to try and give a more entertaining style of play, it's not working because the lads don't know what they're doing. It's not being addressed properly. There's not enough time to train for it, and things are probably getting switched around every week. And that's why it's so dire, because no one has any idea what to do, because the brand of football that we're trying to play, as Ryan Law likes to call it, is so inconsistent that nobody can really pick out what they want to do. So, that's my theory anyway, but he's right. We have to get back to how we were at the start of the season. Even if it's just drawing games or scraping out wins, it's better than nothing. You know what I mean? I'd rather see us grind out a draw than grind out a loss, because at the end of the day, we're still getting points. So that's all that matters for me. As long as we're getting points, it's fine. The performances, they need to be worked on, but that's why we need to give Lowe a little bit more time to sort of figure himself out, because he's under a lot of pressure at the minute. And I am in no way a defender of Ryan Lowe or the boys. I know I might seem like that with the tweets that I put out, but I am in no way defending the way we play right now, because it's shit. I'll be straight, it's shit. We are playing awful. We are awful at the minute. However, I do think Ryan Lowe just needs a bit more time. You can't call out a manager and say he needs to leave the club based on the home form alone, because that is just unfair. He's not Graham Wesley 2.0. There are many managers out there that are more like that, but at the same time, he's nowhere near as bad as people say. I get the home form is dire, I get the performances are dire, but at the same time, give him time. Alright, Craig Hebbins said when Ryan Lowe came into the club, he needs time, because we don't have the finance. And I know that you can make the argument that teams like Luton and Bournemouth did well with the finances they had, but we are not Luton or Bournemouth. That's the bottom line. Everyone's saying now at Plymouth and at PNE that Schumacher was the real brains of Plymouth and we took the wrong guy, which that could turn out to be true. But at the same time, I don't want to make the assumption, because we simply haven't given Ryan Lowe enough time. And if Ryan Lowe goes at the end of the season, who are we going to get in for him? Because I really do not want this Southampton lad that they've just sacked, because he's shit as well. So I just think Lowe needs a bit more time. Give him time to figure out his identity, because the Championship's a different beast to League 1 and League 2. You know what I mean? He's come from lower leagues that are a little bit more easy to dominate with the correct recruitment and things like that. You can't do that in this league. Everything he did to overachieve in the other leagues, it's not doable in this league, and I think it's only just starting to hit him with the realisation. If you compare how he was at the start of the season coming into the club, saying we're going to back the lads, play your part, all this entertaining, attacking football, it's because he hadn't actually played in the Championship. He had no idea what he was in for, and now he understands what he's in for and what the budget's actually like. Because let's be honest, he was probably bullshitted to a little bit about coming into the club with a budget. They're probably trying to lure him in, saying, yeah, we'll give you this and we'll give you that, and now he knows the reality of it. He's like, well, shit. And that's probably why he's the way he is at the minute. He no longer comes to applaud the fans, he just goes straight down the tunnel with his hands on his head. And I can see why, because it's horrendous football and he's not delivering what he promised. But he's made a very, very, very strong false promise, so getting over that is going to be difficult for him, and I understand that. And it's difficult for the lads at the minute as well, because when you've got a manager who's still trying to suss out his identity and things like that, and the pressure around the club, it does mount, and it's horrible. And Alan Brown, I've said it before, he's not the best captain in the world, but he's got the right idea. He just doesn't have that sort of autocratic style that a leader needs, like Ched does maybe, or Whiteman. He likes the boys and he loves the boys, but he doesn't criticise them enough. He doesn't do enough to improve each other's game, and that's the problem with Alan Brown as a captain, I feel. But that's the discussion for another day. I'll maybe get a supporters discuss video out for that, because the supporters discuss video about the halfway mark of the season did really well. So thank you all for that as well, and I'd love to do more videos like that, because it was a really good project to do, and I thoroughly enjoyed talking to a lot of fans about their opinions. So yeah. But anyways, I'll move on now before this video gets too long. The points to make, it clearly shows there are levels to this game. Burnley and Sheffield United, levels ahead of everyone else. The attacking, again, was awful. They exploited us far too easily. Hence, like I said, they trained correctly for us. And there was a lack of confidence from us all across the board. I am very, very disheartened to say I couldn't think of a single good thing about this game. So there are no pros, but there are 4 cons, which was we were exploited easily. The defending was poor in the rare occasion it was. The attacking was very, very bad. And we lacked any real sort of confidence in our possession. So yeah, overall it was an awful day, awful experience. I hope the away fans had a good time, while for what it's worth at least. But in terms of our performance, it left a lot to be desired, and I really hope it does get sorted soon, because we're going to go to Deepdale on Wednesday, and it's going to be an extremely difficult game, not only for Ryan Lowe but for the players. It's Luton, for fuck's sake. They are a very good squad. They're a very good side at the minute. So let's hope we can actually get something under our belts for Luton. After that, we've got Hull away, which in theory is going to be an easier game, but I can't make promises. And then the final game in which Ched has a suspension is Wigan at home, which is going to be an interesting one. But at the same time, we do need points. If we have to grind them out, so be it. We need the points. We can suss out the identity in the meantime, but the points are more important. If anybody goes to the open training day on Monday, please inform me. Windows security, get the fuck out of here. Please inform me about this open training day if you do attend it on Monday. I'll tweet that out as well. Please inform me of that, because I think it's going to be interesting to see how we actually say we prepare for teams, because the open training day in the summer was different, because it's just about getting used to the lads and getting them comfortable with the new manager and implementing that style of training and stuff. But yeah, a lot of people were saying this interview with Brown that I just read out was an attack on Law, but I don't think it is. It's far from it. I think it's just a brutal honesty about everything about the club, to be honest, at the minute, and everyone in the squad. So yeah, and also as well, it's, I don't know, I've not really got a lot to say, to be honest with you. I'm just trying to process what's actually going on. I'll probably address the problems with the club in a separate video if this continues, but yeah, that's for supporters discuss, I suppose, and I'll get another one of them pumped out before the end of March, hopefully, if I can find a topic to talk about. But yeah, thanks for watching. Of course, dire result once again, but what can you do? Hopefully we'll prepare properly for Luton, because if we don't, we are for hooked. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. Apologies as well if you're watching this and you didn't like that tweet I put out the other day. Of course, I've since tried to rectify the decision because I couldn't get my words out properly on the night that it went out. But again, if you didn't feel like that was a good tweet, or you felt offended by it or anything like that, I apologise. Didn't mean to use the language that I used in terms of the T word. Did not mean to use it. Didn't come out the right way. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't get the impression of me being like that, because that's not what I'm like. It was a very frustrating night. You know, just frustrating night. Handled it the wrong way personally, and it's not just the fans' fault, but we do play our part, and we haven't been playing our part recently. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, that aside, thanks again for watching. Hopefully Luton will be good, and yeah, I'll see you then for another depressing matchday report.